Hello, everyone. I'm JJ, Johnston with Avalara. I've been in the tax world for about 20 years, been in sales tax automation for about 7, 8 years now, and I'm glad to be here with Cady and Western Computer.
I'm Cady Jackson. I'm one of the senior account executives here at Western Computer. My specialty is CPG. So really excited to talk with JJ today from Avalara about some of the challenges in the CPG space today and what we're seeing. JJ, in your opinion, what makes tax compliance, particularly complex when we're talking and dealing with the CPG industry?
In the CPG industry, you have a lot of, tax product bundling. So that really takes something might be taxable, something might not be taxable. Once you bundle it together, that creates another question. And we use the phrase, it depends a lot. Is it this? Is it that? What state are you in? What jurisdiction you're in? So there's a lot of complexities just with product bundling.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. We see that a lot as well. Product bundling is always a challenge. So it's good to know that you guys have a solution there for that specific need. Where do you see companies in this space typically, running into trouble when it comes to things like multi-state or global tax rules?
Great question. A lot of it is when they go into new markets. And you could be, hey, I'm headquartered in Texas. I know Texas, maybe Oklahoma, Louisiana, the kind of the nearby states. And all of a sudden you're doing business in California or Maine or New York. And then, well, that's not how we do it in Texas. Well, sales tax is so complex. There are 12,120 sales tax jurisdictions at the end of 2024. 12,000 different entities making sales tax laws and rules. So it really impacts on where your new business is. Now, if you go globally, that's a whole nother concept that we can certainly discuss on. But what we see a lot is just going into a new state. Even if it's next door, it's completely different than what you're doing at your own home state.
Right. It's way better than to have an expert there, right? So you don't have to just know all of that stuff, right? And you can focus on what you do, which is growing your business in that state, not worrying about the sales tax or having to know all those intricate rules.
Exactly. I use the phrase peace of mind a lot. And being in the world of tax, I'm doing a lot of education. And when I'm talking to prospects or my new clients, it's, hey, we're going to give you peace of mind that we have this covered. You're selling this in X state. Here's how it's done. Now you're going to sell this in a new state, or you maybe just switch one little product, one little issue, one little nuance on that product in a new state. It could change the taxability in your home state, let alone that new state. So Avalara gives companies peace of mind that we have you covered.
Yeah, and in this crazy world that we live in, right, there's a lot of uncertainty. Why have additional uncertainty when you could have, someone there like Avalara that knows those ins and outs and can really help you with that and give you that peace of mind? That's invaluable.
And it's really protection for if and when, and I should say when, you're going to be audited.
Right.
You get audited and you say, hey, I'm with Avalara. They're going to probably end up telling you, hey, I need this report, this, exemption certificates, where's your sales tax, your return. If all the good data went in the system, more than likely you're going to be good coming out of the audit.
That's fantastic. I mean, I know as a business owner, I would sleep better at night knowing that you guys were there kind of having my back, really, right? You have that information at your fingertips to quickly be able to turn that around. So I would imagine that would take away some of that pain of people always have painful audit stories. I'm sure that you probably have many to share of things that you've heard.
And it's usually they come into us while they're in or just finished an audit.
Right.
And that's kind of where, okay, we just got hit. We're in multiple states. We had this issue. It was a use tax issue or exemption certificate issue. We didn't know. And I tell people, most people's like CPA specializes in income tax, where we specialize in sales and use tax. So it's in the world of tax, but they're so completely and utterly different.
Right.
To have true, compliance, you really need automation.
Absolutely. So kind of in that vein, how do you see tax compliance evolving in this industry? Are there trends or changes in business changes that businesses should be preparing for as we're coming up in the next year or two?
What we're seeing a lot in the last couple of years is a lot more audits, and it can kind of continue on that. Most states are hurting financially. Where's one way they can go generate new, I'm going to use my air quotes, revenue for the state is through some audits. And they're looking at marketplaces. They're looking at exemption certificates. Do you have those? And that's, if you're buying something and you're not required to pay tax, you need to have that piece of paper from the state saying, hey, I'm tax free, I'm tax exempt on this. I should say tax exempt, not tax free. So when you're tax exempt, you don't have to pay that tax. Or if you're collecting these exemption certificates, where do you store those? Oh, I hear all the time they're in, Joey's office down the hall in a file cabinet. Well, when was the last time they were looked at? Florida, for example, you got to renew it every year. So it's really the complexity of everything. It is very hard to do, and no one can get it done on their own.
Right. So, I mean, we've talked about a lot so far, and these have been really good tips. But if there's one simple step that a company in the CPG space could take today to start reducing risk and improving compliance, what would you tell them?
Tax automation.
Yeah.
It really, and I could pare it down, but you have your sales or tax, where are you collecting, where are you paying? You have your exemption certificates. You have a lot. I mean, if it's under 50, you're probably okay. You're under 100, you're now at 1,000, you're at 5,000. When was the last time you did a self-audit on those? Because the state's going to come to you and say, one of the first things, especially for manufacturers, is that, hey, let's look at your exemption certificates you have on file. How accurate are they? And you might owe the tax, or then maybe you have to go back to your clients and try to collect tax from 1, 2, 3 years ago. And now you're going to be giving one of your vendors or someone that is out there a big bill. They're not going to be happy. Peace, again, it goes back to peace of mind, knowing, hey, I have this covered. I'm doing my calculations, I'm doing my exemption certificates, and I'm following the returns. We haven't really talked about returns yet, but that's another area Avalara has you covered. Say, again, great business in Illinois, we're doing great in the Midwest, all of a sudden we're in Canada. Now we have GST, HST, the provincial issues. We have you covered. We're a global company. If you're trying to grow outside the U.S., we can help you. We hear a lot of, you turn on the news, it's tariffs and what's going on across the globe right now. We can help you with that item and classification. So even if you're not just growing internally inside the U.S., you want to grow externally into new countries, that's another area Avalara can assist these consumer product entities going global.
Are there any products or features of Avalara's that would benefit the CPG industry specifically?
It really, we help all companies across the spectrum. It's really understanding what are you selling, where are you selling it, and how you're selling it. Again, it could be completely different. For CPG companies, maybe they're doing, a trade show and they're doing giveaways. All of a sudden, that's a use tax issue. What if you're doing buy two, get one free? How does that tax complexities come into that? We have you covered when it comes to those areas. In maybe one state, you're selling something that is taxable because it might be a medication. In another state, it might be, a cosmetic product. But in the two different states, they're taxed differently. Candy bars, there's a lot of soda tax. Is it fruit juice? Is it not? The size of it. All these determinations, again, it kind of goes back to the bundles as well. You're bundling things together, something that's taxable, not taxable. How do you tax that? So there's just so much out there. There's no way, again, you can get this to be completely compliant without automation. And that's where Avalara is your partner. You have the tax calculations, you have the returns, you have the exemption certificates, you have the national, international, global. We have you protected and give you that peace of mind that we have the information to help you move forward successfully as you grow your business and expand into new markets or new products.
Perfect. Well, I love that. I think that, this is a conversation that, while on the surface might sound boring, no one wants to talk about tax, right? But no one's avoiding taxes either. And it's becoming more and more important conversation to be had. So thank you for joining us today. I think this was really useful information. And I hope our CPG customers can maybe sleep a little bit better tonight, knowing that if they do need some tax help, there's help out there for you.
We got you covered. It's always good to work with you, Cady. Thank you so
Perfect.
much.
Thanks, JJ.